Hello everyone, this is part 48 of What If Naruto Had Two Bloodlines, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. He looked to be struggling as his attack dissipated and he kept changing forms. Connell was about to land the finishing blow, when he felt all his strength leave him. What's happening? He strained. Everyone could see that Connell's attack had dispersed. The cause of it was. Connell looked over his shoulder and in horror realized what was wrong. He had made an error. He had Naruto's tail in his hand, but Naruto also had a hold of his tail and it was sapping all of his strength. I made a grave mistake. The kid is like me, so of course he would know my weakness. I thought that I had completely disabled him with my attack though, he thought as he dropped to his knees. He tried to will himself back to his feet, but it was useless. The sound of crackling electricity soon caught his ear. Before another thought could cross his mind, he felt a mixture of sensations as his chest was punched through. Behind him he could hear the one responsible whisper to him, "Lightning Edge, it's a shame, but your life ends here." How can this be? He asked as looked at a stirring Naruto. His last thoughts were of how and why things ended up this way. How he was an arrogant fool that only left his clan because he wasn't appointed alpha of his clan as he thought he deserved. If it wasn't for this, he wouldn't have been shunned by his clan and his brother wouldn't have followed him out of concern. He would mistreat him out of jealousy for being offered the title of alpha, but his brother was always there for him. All he had in this world was his family and he let him down. He ruined the future of his younger brother by leading him into this mess and possibly the future of his clan. With Connell finished, Kakashi and Kurenai tended to Naruto's wounds while the rest of the party finally showed up. They looked around and were relieved to find that it was finally over. They could finally go home. Ryubi looked at the Leaf Nins and the shape they were in. She bowed to them and told them, "We're sorry for the trouble we've caused. It probably isn't enough, but I assure you that we truly, sincerely apologize. I can understand that we've wronged you, but I beg you to spare us. We just want a fresh start." As they turned to leave, Kakashi put a halt to their action. He looked at a now unconscious Naruto and said, "Actually, I think you'd better hold it. You said something about using Naruto to reslish your clan. You'll probably want him in the future, right? I think that it'd be best if we settle things with the two of you." The end of a long journey. The sun rose into the sky. The early morning sunlight shone over ponds, rivers, fields, and buildings. It began peek through the nearly fully closed curtains of a certain apartment. It crept through the window and inched its way down the bed to some crumpled up covers and finally up the back of a hunched over figure. After making its way up the back and to the figure's right eye, "What bad luck. I still haven't fully recovered, but I've already got a mission," he said after letting out a sigh before reaching for his headband. He grabbed it and placed it on his head and covered his left eye. He finally got off of his bed, gathered his things, and left his cluttered apartment. He was on his way to hear about his mission details when he noticed a familiar face coming out of a store. "Yo, what's up, Asuma?" Surprised, Asuma shakily responded, "Why yo, Kakashi. How are you this morning?" Trying to hide something behind his back. "Still a little shaken up, but I'll manage." While eyeing the uneasy Asuma, Kakashi let on that it was useless hiding that item behind his back. "So, who are the flowers for? I'm pretty sure I know, but my hunch could be wrong." Beads of sweat began rolling down his body as Asuma nonchalantly looked at the shop he had just exited. It was completely obvious what he was up to when Ino stepped out the door to say, "Oh, Asuma-sensei, you're still here. I thought you said you were in a hurry to get to the hospital and that's why you couldn't tell me who they're for." Stuck between the oh-so-smart Kakashi and the #1 kunoichi of gossip in the Leaf Village, Ino, Asuma tried to figure out a way of getting away without letting on what his intentions with the flowers was. Nothing came to mind but, "Hey, look over there. What's that?" After pointing, he ran off in the opposite direction. "That'll never work, not with Kakashi. He'll probably just play along and follow me the entire time. If that's the case then, he clutched his chest and began groaning, "Oh, my heart. It really hurts. Well, I don't have time to talk, I'd better get to the hospital quickly before I have a heart attack." He shook his head of these thoughts as he knew that such a thing wouldn't work the way he hoped. He wanted to know a little more about something anyway, so he decided to tell them, well, the truth is, I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I'm on my way to pay a visit to Kurenai. He scratched the back of his head and looked at Kakashi, whose expression didn't even seem to change. He then looked at Ino. The look on her face told it all. She had her hands clasped together, a blush on her face, and a strange look in her eyes. Asuma could tell that she was taking what he had said to the extreme. He had to put a stop to this way of thinking immediately, or word could get out that he and Kurenai have a little thing going on. It's just a friendly visit, it may have been a while since someone's gone to see her, and I wanted to know about what happened on your last mission, that someone like her ended up in the hospital. As soon as he finished his sentence, he walked off towards the hospital in a quick pace. If Ino didn't know better, she'd think that her sensei was actually running away. Kakashi on the other knew better. He was obviously trying to get away as soon as possible to avoid the hole in what he said being seen. If he really wanted to hear about the mission, he could have asked me since he ran into me first. There's no reason for him to feel so uneasy about seeing someone in the hospital, Kakashi thought before going on his way. At the hospital, Sasuke lay in bed tossing and turning. His temperature began to rise, as did the room, as he began to perspire from the heat. He continued flailing about as he grunted and groaned through his nightmares. Nightmare. Sasuke found himself alone in nothing but darkness. Somewhere behind him he began to hear the sound of faint footsteps that slowly grew louder until Sasuke quickly turned to his rear to see Naruto walk out of the shadows and past him. More footsteps could be heard as two more figures stepped forward. Sasuke was shocked to see that they had just shown up and were now standing in place beside Naruto. Sasuke tried to yell out for Naruto to watch out for these two characters, but he couldn't be heard. At least that's what he thought. The two threatening figures began to turn to Sasuke. The first turned his head just enough to give him a menacing glance with his red eyes before walking into the shadows. The other turned completely around and, as if welcoming him, opened his arms and hissed, "Sasuke." He too then sheered off into the shadows. All that was left was Naruto. Sasuke tried his best to call out to him. Though he could hear himself as he screamed, he wasn't sure if Naruto could or if he was just ignoring him. One last time he called for him and it seemed he had gotten through. Naruto turned his head and with one cold look turned his back and began walking away. Sasuke noticed that he was heading right into the same shadows that those two other terrible characters had gone and gave chase. He ran his hardest but still couldn't seem to get an inch closer. The two continued through the darkness until, a few feet away, they could see the two previous standing in place. Sasuke watched as Naruto walked and stopped in place. All three turned around to Sasuke to say, "Sasuke, you're weak, you're nothing. What have you been doing all this time, Sasuke? I destroyed everything dear to you and left you a pathetic shell because I knew it would turn out like this. With your weakness you'll never be a threat to me. Even if you attempt to revive the clan, they won't be a match for me. I'll just find you and them once again. Itachi, you," Sasuke strained to say as his knees buckled. Itachi walked forward and stood beside Naruto. As he did this, the other character walked up and spoke, "Currently you are nothing to me and the man you desire to kill, but you have great potential. Because of that I am willing to help you bring out that which would be lost if you stayed as you are. But if you don't want to, then, I'll just have to find another candidate to assist in becoming the strongest." Orochimaru and Itachi placed their hands on Naruto's shoulders. Sasuke hunched over in pain as Orochimaru said, "One more thing, you heard the little red-haired girl, right? Naruto single-handedly defeated me that time. And he was the one responsible for saving you during your Chunin exams. I even seem to recall him coming to your rescue when you were being thrashed by your brother. You see, unlike you, this boy will make the best vessel for me. After such a short time he is already stronger than you." Naruto jumped in. "I told you before that I was better than you and no, I've proven it. I surpassed you a long time ago. I've saved your sorry hide time and time again. From Haku, during the Chunin exams, against Gaara, from Itachi, And even from that girl that liked blood. You're nothing but weight. I'm tired of having to save your ass. Either get stronger or just That shouldn't be too hard for someone like you, because you're weak, all three in unison stated. Both Orochimaru and Itachi then dragged Naruto off into the shadows. Sasuke tried to fight through the pain and go after them, but it was just too much. He could do nothing but watch. Am I really so weak that I can't do anything? Yes you are, another voice said coming from the darkness. Sasuke lifted his head and got a good look as a younger version of himself stepped forward. You hail from the greatest clan in the land and this is the best you can do. You were supposed to become strong. Stronger than anyone else so that that bastard couldn't get away with the crime he committed. You were supposed to become strong so that no one close to you would ever be hurt again and yet. Sasuke could feel a searing pain in his end. It was so horrible that he couldn't see straight. His vision cleared for a moment and before him stood the young him with marks from the curse seal spreading over his body. His vision blurred again and all he could depend on was his hearing. What sounded like birds loudly and aggressively chirping rang through his ears. His vision began to return and he could see his miniature version coming right at him. He tried to run but his body wouldn't move. The chirping got louder and louder until Sasuke, Sasuke, Sasuke. He sat up in a cold sweat and looked around. There he found Sakura, once with a worried look and now a cheerful one. You seem to be having a nightmare, but it's all right now. I'm here and I'll help you with whatever, she said as smiled at him. He just watched her as she turned around and started rummaging through a bag. Are you hungry? She asked. Chuji was really putting away the food, eating every bit he could get to. He even swiped one morsel that Ino had been looking forward to eating herself. That was it. She had to tell him what was on her mind, but then again when hadn't she? Chuji, you're gonna get sick again, you should be savoring every bite, not trying to see how much you can eat in one. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but I know how to eat. I can eat as much as I want and savor it at the same time, besides, more is better. Listen to what you're saying. That's why everyone makes fun of you, Chuji. Before things went too far, Asuma decided to speak up. Chuji, lately all you do is eat. Why don't you spend a little more time training? Shikamaru's already a chunin and that should be your goal. I guarantee that you'll be just as happy once you've earned the same title as you are eating all you can. I really envy you Chuji, you don't care how much you eat. I have to go on STS and it's painful. Why do you bother? He asked. With no hesitation she responded, girls always want to look as good as possible for someone they like. Chuji took a second to realize what she had said and arrived at, but, you'd never know if the guy likes skinny girls. Ha, all guys like skinny girls more than never mind, you know what I mean. Guys want someone that they can put their arms around when they hold them tight. It's the same for girls. But, you're still one of a kind, anyways, Chuji, you should pay more attention to your body or you won't be getting any girls. As she got up from the table and Asuma went to settle the bill, Shikamaru spoke his mind. Hey, she doesn't get it. Guys don't necessarily like skinny girls as they tend to claim. I hear more guys prefer girls with a little more meat on their bones and that are stacked, if you know what I mean, and I'm sure that it's basically the same for girls. Conversely, she's one of a kind too, Ino and her street, if she were to put on a little more meat she'd definitely be more popular. This brought a smile to Chuji's face as he chuckled. Shikamaru, you're not only smart, but you're funny too. I know now, compared to Sasuke and Neji, you're far more incredible. I've never actually thought about that, after all, I'm just me. But, you were promoted over them in this year's exam. But see, if we were to fight, you would probably be stronger, I would have probably given up if it was you I was fighting against. But Sensei just said, didn't I just tell you? I'm me and you're you. We can't compare ourselves to each other when things could be different in certain situations. That's just stupid, don't take what Asuma Sensei said too personally, just relax, alright. With a smile on his face, Chuji agreed. Shikamaru got up from the table, and before leaving, turned around to tell him his agenda for the day. Anyways, see you later, I gotta get going. My dad wants to teach me some stupid new jutsu, what a drag. Chuji wished him luck as he left the hospital. Tsunade had just finished checking Sasuke's condition and progression. With a little chuckle she teased, is this gonna become a pattern for you? 'Cause if it is, we could get you your own private room here. Why are you so weak? The words from his encounter with Itachi and his nightmare echoed through his head. Done with this patient, Tsunade, with her little helper, walked out of the room and she told Hinata, I'm gonna go and see a few other patients. I want you to go and check on Naruto. And me, be by myself. Oh okay. Don't worry, you'll be just fine. I just want you to check and make sure that the little knucklehead hasn't done anything to reopen any of his wounds. You should hurry though because those girls you brought back with you might have caused it already, again. Hinata quickly headed to Naruto's room. She hoped that she wouldn't find anything too bad. Every day for the past week the two sisters had barged into Naruto's room and caused all kinds of trouble for him, from sneaking out to grab a bite to eat to playing tug of war with him and causing his injuries to worsen. She couldn't allow that to happen again because she was hoping to use the good news of him getting out of the hospital to ask him to a celebratory meal, hopefully just the two of them. Finally alone, Sakura felt it a good idea to pick up where they left off. She picked another S and offered to feed Sasuke. He just looked at her as she approached. He then heard the voice of Naruto in the halls. Along with his, he could hear the voices of two girls that asked where he was going. He told them that he was going to check on Sasuke and he could have sworn he heard him say, I surpassed you a long time ago. Sasuke shook it off as Sakura asked him, do you want some apples, Sasuke? Here. I'll be more than happy to feed you. Without warning, Sasuke knocked her hand away and knocked over the pan of apple SS. It hit the ground and almost immediately Naruto appeared in the doorway wondering what had happened. Sasuke looked up at him and began thinking of his nightmare and how right it was. He was weak. Just when he thought he was becoming stronger, his brother showed up and he realized the gap in their powers. To make matters worse, Naruto was promoted to Chunin while Sasuke was still a genin. This meant that Naruto was acknowledged as being better than he was. After all the times he's goofed up, his strength grows by leaps and bounds in a short amount of time while he's fighting high-level opponents and winning. I'm supposed to be better than him. I'm from the greatest clan this village has ever seen. I'm better than this. Still staring daggers at Naruto, Sasuke jumped from the bed and, Naruto, fight me, now. Sasuke, what are you saying? Sakura asked, jumping from her seat. Yeah, what are you saying? You're still recovering. Yeah, you shouldn't be fighting in your condition, either of you. Yuki stated. Shut up. This has nothing to do with you. Now, Naruto, fight me. You're out of your mind, you're talking to your friends all kinds of ways and you thought you helped me. You bringing that foolish fifth Hokage to heal me and jumping into my fights when I didn't ask for your help. Naruto walked to where he was face to face with Sasuke. Yuki and the Dragon Sisters were feeling uneasy but at the same time a little excited that at any moment a fight could break out. The two of you stop, you shouldn't be doing this, Sakura interjected. She hoped that she could talk some sense into them before things got out of hand, but the next words out of Naruto's mouth showed her that it was too little too late. Well, I can't say that I haven't been thinking about it more and more lately, so, where do we do this? Follow me. Sasuke walked out the door to the room and up a flight of stairs. These stairs led to a door that led to the roof. Not far behind were the girls as they hurried to the roof. Sakura and Ryubi didn't want him to fight because she was worried of the after effects. Yuki and Ryuri on the other hand. Upon reaching the roof, Sasuke continued to walk while Naruto stopped and noticed something. This feeling, this excitement, TCH. What's so funny? There's nothing funny about this. I'm just really excited, for the chance to finally decide which of us is better. What was that? Let's get this straight, you aren't on my level. You're nothing more than a loser. Got it? Sasuke snarled. Hey, that's what everyone keeps saying, but before you know it everyone's gonna be saying the opposite. You dim-witted idiot, why are you being so full of yourself in this situation? You're one to talk. You've always thought of me as someone that was levels below you, and even after all that you've seen me accomplish you still can't admit it, huh? Admit what? That I'm just as good as you, maybe even better. This angered Sasuke. The one thing he didn't want to hear right now from the real deal, and Naruto said it for all to hear. This sent him on a roller coaster of emotions. He was angry, upset, and on edge, nearly losing his cool at every word that came from Naruto's mouth. All he had to do was open his mouth once more and Sasuke would lose it. Just shut up and fight. Fine, just one more thing, put your headband on. Grr, you've got to be kidding me. Just do it. TCH. You won't even be able to put a scratch on my forehead. Naruto pointed to his headband before saying, that's not it. I'm saying that this is a symbol that we fight as equals. As if, Naruto. He growled as he charged at Naruto. Naruto retaliated in a similar fashion. Both threw a punch and intercepted the others. For a moment the two just gritted their teeth and growled at each other. Using Naruto for leverage, Sasuke delivered a front drop kick to Naruto's chest. Naruto was pushed back but as Sasuke fell to the ground, he was right back on him. One kick sent Sasuke rolling across the ground. Using this momentum, Sasuke rolled back to his feet to see Naruto right back in his face. A punch was thrown but Sasuke weaved it by a hair and countered with an uppercut. Naruto's head whipped back as another one of Sasuke's punches found its mark in Naruto's gut. He bent over as Sasuke planned to knee him in the face. Before he could, however, Naruto grabbed a hold of his leg. He pulled him into a kick and began to spin in circles. Sasuke went down and was now being dragged across the ground, slowly gaining lift. Naruto continued spinning around faster and faster until he released Sasuke into the air. He crashed into the high fence and crashed to the ground. He got to his feet but had a tough time keeping his balance. He was dizzy and disoriented and Naruto would take advantage. He easily connected with a right hook. He then followed with a left. Sasuke teetered but didn't go down. Naruto kept knocking him around until he finally fell. Sasuke began getting up and, with an intense look, wiped the blood from his mouth. Like a mad bull, he charged Naruto, picked him up and slammed him on a nearby wall. He began wildly wailing on him as Naruto could do nothing more than put up his guard. The girls were beginning to worry that this could turn into something much worse. They thought it would be a way for the two to just let off some steam, but now, it was turning into a vicious brawl. What's going on here? Someone asked from behind the girls. They turned around and there stood Hinata. They tried to explain what was happening and how it started. Like the others, Hinata wanted this to stop before it got out of hand but didn't know what to do. All they could do was watch as the two went at it. Sasuke still had Naruto backed against the wall, throwing punches. Naruto had had enough. He grabbed Sasuke's arms and headbutted him. The metal on his headband tore into Sasuke's F and left him with a slash across his forehead. He felt the cut and the blood that sped down. He remembered what he had said and was now pissed. He cycled through seals and launched a fire technique at close range. Naruto quickly escaped by jumping onto the nearby wall. Seeing that things had gotten serious, Naruto decided to do the same, multi-shadow clone jutsu. A great number of clones were created and were now surrounding Sasuke on all sides. Many of them jumped into the air to pounce on him, but Sasuke turned the tables with another fire technique, sending them to a fiery end. While Sasuke's attention was diverted, the Narutos on the ground made their move. Sasuke quickly whipped around with wild punches and kicks as he tried to fend them all off. Through the smoke above rained more Narutos on top of him. He was at the mercy of his adversaries as they battered him around with one brutalizing blow after another before being propelled into the air. Sasuke was in a predicament. He had a great number of opponents under him on the ground and now a great number of them right above. Thinking on his feet, he began to rotate his body. He began cycling through seals as he spun and spewed fire at every turn. The blazing fire wheel that is Sasuke managed to torch his foes and came to a stop once he had defeated the last one. He looked down to see Naruto charging an attack. Is that? He's gonna blast me out of the sky. I have no way of dodging, then I'll. Naruto noticed that Sasuke was starting an attack of his own. Chakra began jumping around in his left hand. He turned his body and blasted himself off the ground. He made a single clone and formed the Rasengan. Sasuke dove and the two were set for a collision course. That jutsu. Sasuke. You can't use that. Naruto, please stop. You're gonna hurt each other. Sakura yelled, but it fell on deaf ears. The girls held their breaths as the two combatants drew ever closer. The worst possible scenario popped into Sakura's mind and it freaked her out. She couldn't let it become a reality. She rushed screaming at the top of her lungs for them to stop. The two looked down at their crying teammate, friend, but it was too late for them to be stopped now. Sasuke kept his arm extended but Naruto hesitated. He began to pull his arm back. He was intending to take the brunt of the attack if it would mean that Sakura was safe. Luckily, Kakashi miraculously appeared in the nick of time and rerouted their attacks. He grabbed a hold of their wrists and tossed them at a couple of water towers. Kakashi watched as water poured from one of the towers as Sasuke pulled his arm free. He also watched as Naruto, who had no trouble freeing himself, stood to his feet and thought, that jutsu Naruto just used, there's no doubt that, it's the fourth jutsu. But how, when did he learn such a technique? So who? Sasuke looked at the damage he had done to his tower and the little apparent damage Naruto had done. He snidely grinned to himself as he looked down on Naruto, both literally and figuratively. Kakashi appeared on the tower above Sasuke to tell him, you're letting such a thing as superiority get the best of you. Being the best isn't always what's most important. The intent of that Chidori just now, it wasn't appropriate in this situation. Were you trying to K Naruto? You don't treat comrades that way. In an act of disrespect, Sasuke hoped the fence to get away from a lecture. He looked up to see the true extent of destruction Naruto's attack had caused. The back of his tower had been completely blown out. His rage was building again, but he left before he flew off the handle. A sigh was heard before a voice spoke up. Kids today, they don't even seem to know the meaning of respect, right, Kakashi? Kakashi tossed a handkerchief to Sakura so that she could wipe the tears from her eyes before speaking. Were you the one who taught Naruto that technique, Master Jiraiya? Don't you think he's a little young and inexperienced to properly utilize a jutsu like that? He could have seriously injured or even killed Sasuke. Even if it was for his own protection against Akatsuki, teaching that to someone like him. Jiraiya interrupted before Kakashi could finish his sentence. You have a point there, Kakashi. A powerful technique in a fool's possession could lead to devastation if he can't use it properly. So I guess that we both are in the same boat with this one. I never thought that he would use it on his comrades, however. Perhaps there's something going on between those two. They have a little rivalry going on. No, little isn't the right way to describe it. It's similar to your and Orochimaru's relationship in the past. Naruto wants to be acknowledged by his teammate and rival because from day one Sasuke's been seen as superior. Right now, that may be the top priority on his mind. He's worked so hard to get where he is and his rapid developments caught Sasuke's attention and he most likely feels threatened by it. The whole, alpha male, top dog thing. It all comes down to that. Sasuke feels like he isn't growing fast enough because Naruto has become stronger. It seems that Itachi screwed the kid's life up. No matter what, Sasuke doesn't want to acknowledge Naruto. If he does, he feels that it'll deny his reason for living up until now. Well, things aren't too bad. A little talk with them should set things straight. Just leave Naruto to me. The two watched as Naruto leaped down and walked past Sakura. She wanted to say something to him but she didn't know what. It didn't really matter because instead he had something to say. Sakura, I'm sorry that you had to see that, but next time, don't interfere. She was shocked to hear this. She was speechless. Never before had Naruto ever been this serious with her. It really hit home once she realized that this could very well happen again. Next time could be much worse if they went unchecked. Naruto took his leave and Sakura began crying once again. What did he say to her? Yuki asked as she went to console her. Kakashi joined her in this attempt as he told her, it's alright. Things'll be back to normal before you know it. You'll see. He smiled as only he could. Sakura's tears slowly cleared up and Kakashi left her to the other girls. Meanwhile, he would give Sasuke a little advice about life. He searched for and found him sitting in a tree. To cancel out any plans for escape, he tied him to a tree while he was deep in thought. With him subdued, Kakashi started their little chat. You should stop. Stop what? He asked angrily. Stop seeking revenge. Over the years I've seen how badly it can end for guys like you. Those that succeeded in getting what they wanted weren't satisfied in the end. It was nothing but a tragedy. You'll only hurt and suffer more and be left with emptiness. Don't talk like you understand. What the hell do you know? What if I cared the one you loved the most? Would you be able to practice what you're preaching then? That could work, however, I have no one like that. Those people are already gone. I've lived for a while now, so I understand what true pain and loss feels like. Kakashi watched as what he had said sunk in. Sasuke was now looking as though he wanted to take back what he had said. Kakashi continued, "We don't seem to have the best of luck, you and me, but we aren't so bad off. We've both found new people that we can consider as our precious companions. I taught you Chidori for a reason. From now on make sure you use it for the right one." He left Sasuke to think about what he had said. And so he did. He sat in the tree and really reflected on his previous actions. The hospital. Tsunade was preparing to perform a critical medical procedure. She would be trying to restore Lee to his livelihood with the help of Hinata, who appeared to be in her own little world. Hinata couldn't stop thinking about the fight that Naruto and Sasuke had had on the roof. Ah, Hinata, Hinata. Seeing that she hadn't gotten through, Tsunade decided to get her pupil's attention in a subtle manner. She picked up a scalpel and flung it right across her eyes. This surprised Hinata right out of her seat and, out of habit, she rolled into a defensive position with a scalpel instead of a kunai. "So, is there something on your mind?" Tsunade asked as if nothing had happened. Hinata thought of keeping it to herself. She looked away and noticed a scalpel embedded in the wall near where she was previously sitting. She then cranked her head to Tsunade. Being distracted during a serious operation can lead to dire consequences, she stated through clenched teeth. "Why yes, you are." She was about to spill the beans, but before she could her eyes began to flash. She grabbed her head and began rolling on the ground and screaming at the top of her lungs. It could be seen that she was in a lot of pain, so Tsunade and the other present medics did all they could to alleviate it. While they did all they could, Hinata could see partial images of Sasuke with four mysterious figures. She then saw a brief image of Naruto followed quickly by one of a blood-spattered forest. The final image is what shocked her the most. Once it was finally over, she slowly stood to her feet. Ignoring the pounding headache, and the fact that she nearly passed out a few times, Hinata exited the room. This put Tsunade in a bind. She had originally planned on Hinata's contribution to make Lee's operation run smoothly, at least as smoothly as it could possibly go. With this turn of events, she would have to resort to a backup plan and hope for the best. Unless Hinata came right back, but where was she going? Naruto was walking around mumbling to himself about the knot on his head. Not far behind were Ryubi and Yuki and Ryuri, who chuckled at his misfortune. Just as they were rounding the corner, they happened to run into Hinata, or she just so happened to fall into Naruto's arms. They were in a panic because of Hinata's sudden appearance. She had a dazed look in her eyes and her breathing was labored. They immediately decided to rush her to the hospital, but then she murmured something. "Na, Naru, Naruto, SAs, Sasuke." After Kakashi's little talk with him, Sasuke had spent the rest of the evening thinking of how he wanted to handle things. The things Kakashi said, could he be right? Should I forget about revenge and instead focus on what's really important? I don't know what I should do, I have to revenge my clan. If I don't kill Itachi myself, then he'll get Naruto and hurt anyone else that gets in his way, including any other free. Before he could finish his thought, he sensed the presence of others. He looked up in the sky and could see the silhouettes of 4 people. Soon, they landed and surrounded Sasuke. They just stood there with cold eyes and stared at him. "Just who the hell are you?" Sasuke coldly questioned. "So this is the little S-Lord Orochimaru wanted," the red-haired girl spat. "Orochimaru. Tayuya, girls shouldn't. Fatis." She spit before the big guy could get out his sentence. Tension was building. Another second and it looked like the tiny spitfire of a woman was about to jump on the big guy. Before anything could happen, however, Sasuke stole the attention. "Hey, you said Orochimaru, how do you know that guy?" They all took a second to get an eyeful of Sasuke before the pale guy responded. "We were the ones chosen by Lord Orochimaru before you came into the picture. We are known as the Sound Four. The foul-mouthed girl is Tayuya. Like I care. The only thing I want to know is, where is Orochimaru? Is he really done for?" Sasuke pried. Ignoring his rudeness, he continued, "The girl is Tayuya, the big guy is Jirubo, the guy with the arms is Kidomaru, and I'm Saken. I said I'm not interested. I just want to know what's the deal with Orochimaru. It doesn't matter. Neither of us believe that you're worthy of being in Lord Orochimaru's good graces," Saken calmly stated. "In fact, why don't we just get rid of this waste of space? They all began jumping about in order to confuse Sasuke. Once it seemed that he was lost, the first attacked. Kidomaru threw a punch that took all of Sasuke's might to block. Seeing an opening, the rest pounced. Using his opponent for support, Sasuke kicked off the ground and mule-kicked Saken and Tayuya back to the tree. Jirubo tried to land a badly timed punch and he and Kidomaru were flipped and slammed into their comrades. They all disappeared in smoke and reappeared on the roof behind Sasuke. In their place was nothing but logs. Sasuke threatened to go all out if they wanted to continue. They merely welcomed this attitude. He jumped from the tree and onto the roof. He bypassed the other three in order to put the Sai one in his place. Sasuke pulled out some wire and ducked a kick from Saken. Using the wire, he wrapped up Saken's legs. With him unable to run away, Sasuke took advantage. He started a sweeping kick. It was blocked but Sasuke followed it up with more attacks in order to create an opening. He succeeded but would get the opportunity. Sasuke stopped in his tracks and fell to the ground in pain. His bones had begun hurting out of nowhere. While he was still down, Jirubo tried to S him into the ground. He quickly rolled off of the roof and plummeted to the earth. Kidomaru had other plans however. He spewed a sticky substance from his mouth that wrapped around Sasuke's arms. He then proceeded to slam him on a tree branch. Why did Lord Orochimaru want such a weakling like him? Kimimaro had much more potential, Saken commented as he watched Sasuke be slammed repeatedly. Feeling that enough was enough, Sasuke's curse mark became active. It began spreading across his body as he freed himself. Right away he went for the one with the big mouth. Surprising him, Sasuke kicked Saken into the air and followed through with his lion's barrage. After crashing into the roof, Saken just laid there. Sasuke turned his attention to the others but was caught off guard. Apparently unfazed, Saken was now hanging Sasuke over the edge by his ankles. What? I used a great deal of force in that last attack and yet, this guy seems to be unhurt. Sasuke's vision panned over to the other three. He was shocked to see that marks similar to his were spreading over them. He was speechless. Being the voice of the group, Saken explained, "You aren't as special as you think you are. You aren't the only one Lord Orochimaru deems as worthy. We're in the same boat as you. The only difference is, we aren't as weak. Do you know why that is? It's because of this style little village. If you stay here, you'll stay this way and never become powerful. Staying here and playing your little ninja games with your comrades will do nothing but kill your progress." The thought of his teammates and the moments he shared with them came to mind. He was confused about what to do before but now. Tayuya then opened her mouth in an attempt to sway Sasuke. "If you come with us, Lord Orochimaru will give you strength. So what will you do?" Saken asked as he hurled Sasuke at a wall. "There's no point in forcing you to come against your will, be careful of your answer because, it could mean your death," he said while looming over him. "Just try it." The four-sound nin looked up to see who had said that. They quickly jumped back to avoid a few kunai aimed at them. As if Sasuke would go for such a thing. That bastard Orochimaru has nothing but bad intentions for him, so there's no way Sasuke is going with you guys, Naruto yelled as he landed between the Sound 4 and Sasuke. Annoyed, Tayuya pointed out, "It's that little S from that time during the invasion. So you remembered me? Well, I haven't forgot you guys either. I knew your chakra signatures were familiar but I had no idea. Now I guess that we get to pick up where we left off." They were awestruck as Naruto suddenly unleashed a blast of chakra in the direction. He blew the top of the tree off, but there was no sign of his intended targets. As tension mounted, Sasuke knew that he couldn't let Naruto fight all four on his own. After what happened to him, Naruto didn't stand a chance. Noticing that Sasuke was in pain as he stood, Naruto stopped him and told him to leave it to him. His hair then changed right before Sasuke's eyes. Sasuke was in awe as it finally hit him. He then heard rapid footsteps approaching. Before he could do a thing, he watched as Naruto was surrounded. They each grabbed a kunai and stuck it to him. He disappeared in smoke and left them to wonder what happened. Another Naruto landed right behind Kidomaru but was unsuccessful with the sneak attack. Using one of his arms, he blocked what could have been a potentially fatal blow. With another arm, he tried to deliver a punch but it was caught. Feeling he had the advantage, Kidomaru ready to wail on Naruto. However, he was intercepted by the legs and hands of another Naruto who plopped onto the other's shoulder. The two were now locked in a struggle that was broken by a headbutt to the gut from Naruto. The one on top then hammered him to the ground. The others tried to lend a helping hand but were met with swift blows from yet more Narutos. The three were sent reeling into what remained of the tree. In control, the Narutos prepared to launch a Dragon's Wrath attack and finish this. They had planned on this but were thwarted by Kidomaru. Using the sticky substance from his mouth, he spun the two Narutos and had them targeting the others. The Sound Four found their opportunity to escape once the area filled with smoke from the destroyed clones. Through the thick cloud, they decided to give Sasuke a few pieces of advice before departing. That seal isn't something to use so carelessly, Saken said. If you continue to use it aimlessly like that, little by little it will eat away at you until you cease to exist. Tayuya's voice was heard next. You should leave this village if you wish to get stronger. Don't forget your goal, Itachi Uchiha. If you seek out Lord Orochimaru, you won't regret it. Naruto was going to chase after them but decided it best to see to Sasuke. He just stared at Naruto as he came to check on him. He looked at his hair and eyes and realized he was holding back before. He looked to be in bad shape, so Naruto asked, Sasuke, are you okay? If you're hurt, I'll help you to the hospital. Sasuke snapped out of his funk and replied, no, I'm fine. I think I'm just gonna go home and get some rest. Are you sure? You don't look too good. I'm fine. After being cooped up in that hospital bed all week, I just want to go home and sleep in my own bed. I don't need your help. He jumped across the roof and onto the streets. Naruto wasn't sure, but he would let Sasuke be for the moment. He would try and make things right with him after a good night's rest. Alright, he said as he went in the opposite direction. After all that had happened in the day, Naruto decided it best to tell Tsunade about the intrusion by Orochimaru's henchmen and leave it to her for the time being. Sasuke, on the other hand, had other plans. After much deliberation, he packed his things and left his home. He had made up his mind on got to Orochimaru for power. On the way out of the village, he ran into Sakura, who appeared to be waiting for something. She took one look at him and reached the conclusion that he was leaving, but Sasuke, where are you going? That's none of your concern. What are you doing out here at this time of night? Why aren't you in bed? In a sad tone she told him, I was supposed to meet up with Naruto. I wanted to talk with him about today, but that isn't really important right now. Now I'm worried. Worried that you're about to leave the village and never return. That's what you're doing, right? He ignored her question and walked by her. Tears swelled up in her eyes as he did. She couldn't them anymore and they flowed. Why won't you say anything to me? Why do you always keep everything to yourself and never say a single word to me? She cried. Nothing I do concerns you or anyone else. So just butt out. Of course it doesn't concern me, because you've always hated me since the day we became Genins. Sasuke stopped as she tearfully continued, the day we became a three-man squad, you were so mad at me. What I said was so stupid. I was so stupid then. I don't remember that. Yeah, I guess you're right. There's no reason to remember such a silly thing. It's all in the past, she said after a nervous chuckle. But that's when it all began. The start of the four of us becoming a team and going on many difficult missions. Even though they were tough, I still enjoyed those times. Sasuke clenched his fists and with his back still to Sakura said, and, so what's your point? I don't have time to waste here. I know all about your past. Even if you get revenge, it won't bring you or anyone else happiness. I already know that, I'm different from the rest of you, I can't follow the same path as you. Up until now we've done everything as a team, but for what I have to do, I must do it alone. I've already decided on revenge and there's nothing that can be done to change that. But, I'm nothing like you or Naruto. I never will be. From here on we take different paths. Her tears flowed heavily as she tried to convey her feelings to Sasuke, but, without you, I'll feel just alone as you. I love you with all of my heart. I don't want you to go. If you were to stay with me, I'd make sure that every day would be fun. You'd never be lonely, if you'd just stay with me. We'd be happy, I swear. Please. Sasuke's fists clenched even tighter. For the first time since the debate on his future, Sasuke glanced over his shoulder at the distraught Sakura. Even from a single glance, Sakura could tell that Sasuke still hadn't wavered. If have to go, then take me with you. I'll do what I can to help you with your revenge and keep you safe. So please, stay with me, she shouted out of desperation. Sasuke fully turned and, with a smirk on his face, told her, "You really are annoying." He turned to leave and end this conversation once and for all. Seeing this, Sakura took a deep breath. Before she could get out a good scream, Sasuke disappeared. She stopped as she heard his voice gently say her name from behind. She heard one final thing before everything went dark. Thank you, X. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.